Published 1929 Eastern Standard Time, the 27th of February 2018. Updated 3:26 Eastern Standard Time, the 28th of February 2018. The race is hotting up in Sportsmail's hunt for the best hat-trick since the Premier League's inception in 1992. It's never simple to net 3 times in one match, but as any fan knows, not all hat-tricks are created equal. Here, Dan Ripley continues to count down in our top 50 Premier League hat-trick series by checking out the 30th and 21st best. And everything in between. Michael Owen features as Sportsmail's top 50 Premier League hat-tricks countdown resumes. It was the day Chelsea ended 3 seasons of dominance from Manchester United to claim the 3rd Premier League title. However, by the time Drogba netted the first goal of his hat-trick, the celebrations were well underway at Stamford Bridge. What the Ivorians headed did bring up after the hour mark, though, was Chelsea's 100th Premier League goal of the season as they moved into a 5-0 lead. Another 2 from Drogba and a last-minute Ashley Cole strik saw a record set of 103. Liverpool and Manchester City have gone close to beating it but have fell narrowly short. Goal times 63, 68 and 80. Didier Drogba helped Chelsea wrestle the Premier League title back from Manchester United. One of the greatest one-man shows from one of the great Premier League games, as Liverpool's profligate finishing paled in contrast to a clinical display from Mark Viduka. Leeds United were 2 goals down at Elland Road in just 18 minutes to Sami Hyypiä and Christian Ziga's strikes. But by the start of the second half, the summer signing from Celtic had drawn his side level. Vladimir Šmicer restored Liverpool's lead, but Viduka was not done. A neat turn and finish brought his second equaliser as well as a hat-trick, before 2 minutes later the Australian turned the game on its head with a cool chip for the dramatic winner. Goal times 24, 47, 73 and 75. Mark Viduka produced a brilliant one-man show in one of the great Premier League games. Newcastle United were in disarray before this game. Only Sheffield Wednesday's inferior goal difference prevented the Toon from being bottom with 1 point after 7 games. In addition, they were without a Premier League win at St James Park for 7 months. However, new manager Bobby Robson was about to make an immediate impact in his first home game in charge. But it wasn't Robson, it was Alan Shearer who would take the headlines as the striker netted a 5-goal haul, with Newcastle recording the second biggest Premier League victory of all time. Goal times 30, 33 pen, 42, 81, 84 pen. Alan Shearer celebrates one of his 5 goals as Newcastle rout Sheffield Wednesday at home. It only took 14 years and a complete defensive mix-up between Rio Ferdinand and Edwin van der Sar, but this was incredibly the first Premier League hat-trick conceded by Manchester United. Bentley's first 2 goals of his treble were opportunistic, as he scored either side of a Louis Saha equaliser with a rebound from a free kick and a tap-in after Ferdinand had nodded over a stranded Van der Sar. A Lucas Neal penalty made it 3-1 before Bentley lashed home a superb half-volley into the bottom corner for his hat-trick. 2 Ruud van Nistelrooy goals set up a tense finale, but Bentley's historic evening was to be sealed in perfect fashion with a famous Rovers victory. Goal times 35, 41 and 56. David Bentley's hat-trick secured Blackburn Rovers a famous victory over Manchester United, an unforgettable day for Newcastle fans, and not just because Kevin Nolan scored what remains the only Tyne-Wear derby hat-trick in the Premier League. The Toon demolished the bitter rivals, with Nolan soon putting them 2-0 up, having opened the scoring with a well-crafted overhead kick. Shola Amiobi added his own brace, but the striker was beaten to the treble by Nolan, who headed home from close range. The day was Newcastle's, but this story does not have a happy ending for the Toon. Manager Chris Hughton was controversially sacked just over a month later, and the club have not won a Tyne-Wear derby at St James Park since. Goal times 26, 34 and 75. Kevin Nolan scored what remains the only Tyne-Wear derby hat-trick in the Premier League. Of course, it would be one of the Premier League's trailblazers who would bag the first hat-trick in the revamped top flight, but it was not for Manchester United. Cantona was still at Leeds as he netted the treble against a woeful Tottenham side on the day. However, it represented the last time Howard Wilkinson's team ever looked like being in a position to defend the top-flight title, having been the final winners of the old First Division. These were also the only Premier League goals Cantona scored for Leeds before his controversial switch to Old Trafford 3 months later. Goal times: 26, 31 and 46. Eric Cantona's hat-trick against Tottenham in 1992 was the first in the revamped top flight. Fresh from his wonder goal against Argentina at the 1998 World Cup, Michael Owen was one of the most feared strikers on the planet, and it did not take Newcastle United long to find out why. The England striker took just over half an hour to demolish the two, under new management with Ruud Gullit, with his first 2 goals coming within 90 seconds of each other. But it was Owen's third strike that underlined him at his brilliant best. Running at the defense, he used a further injection of pace to dodge a challenge before lifting the ball over Shay Given and celebrating with a famous rub of the hands. Goal times: 17, 18 and 32. Michael Owen scored twice in 90 seconds and completed his hat-trick in just over half an hour. The enigma that is Andy Carroll. A striker that has spent much of his career injured, just totally out of sorts to the point. You wonder why West Ham United persist with a player that was also cast off at Liverpool. Part of the answer is the Northern powerhouse is capable of daring utter brilliance. The Hammers were 2-0 down and going nowhere in this London derby until 2 minutes before the break, when Carroll powered home a trademark header before almost instantly grabbing an equaliser with a quickly improvised scissors kick. 7 minutes after the break, and the astonishing one-man comeback was complete through another header. Arsenal spoiled the party somewhat with a Laurent Koscielny equaliser, but Upton Park's final hat-trick will still go down as one of its finest. Goal times: 44, 45 and 52. West Ham's Andy Carroll scored the final and one of the finest hat-tricks of the Upton Park era. Just a couple of months before this game, Tottenham recorded the first victory over Chelsea for 12 years after a thumping 5-1 victory in the League Cup. Chelsea soon got revenge, returning to White Hart Lane to win 4-0 in the FA Cup. But the Blues were not done, as Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank proved just 3 days later with a hat-trick of the highest class that demolished Glenn Hoddle's side. The striker opened the scoring with a superb curling effort into the top corner from 25 yards, before doubling his tally with a second-half header. However, the Dutchman perhaps saved his best until last, cutting inside from the right and moving away from the goal before curling another effort to cross-goal pass to helpless Neil Sullivan. Oh, and it was a perfect hat-trick. Goal times: 24, 69 and 81. Chelsea's Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank celebrates his hat-trick against London rivals Tottenham. Arshavin never did consistently match his Euro 2000.